This is the Amp Hour Podcast, released September 4th, 2017. Episode 358, Mergers and People Acquisitions.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
We're back.
You're back, man.
I'm back, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. No, there was a couple weeks in there too where I had some travel stuff too, so that also,
Yeah,
we have a couple of breaks here and there.
we
you know?
used a couple of our pre-recorded shows, right?
Yeah,
or a couple
exactly.
of your pre-recorded shows, yeah.
Yeah, things happen, things come up. We're good.
So, no.
Don't worry, kids. We're not getting divorced.
Yet.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of divorces, let's lead off the show.
What a great segue, Dave. Really.
I know.
That
this
implies
is why
pain.
I'm a professional at this.
That implies pain and not good things. I think this is all good things. So.
And you'll have to excuse me because I am still sick, so I'm
You
soldiering
are,
through
right.
this, and I'm sucking on these throat lozenges so I don't cough. So
Yeah.
if you hear me chewing, it's not me being rude.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, tell us
Yes.
what's happening with you.
So I have
Big news.
I have a life change. Yeah, I'm going to be joining a new company.
Woo!
Woo.
Not that there was
So-
anything wrong with your old one. You just
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So supply. I'm out here actually in LA right now,
Yep.
finishing up with Supply Frame, helping plan some of the super conference stuff, which I'll still be at. And so I'm going to join a new company based in Chicago starting mid-September, and I'm
which
really
is
excited
where
about
you
it.
live now, by the
Right,
way.
exactly.
Yep.
Right.
So,
So it's called Hologram. It's hologram.io is the URL.
Because they
and
couldn't get hologram.com because, they chose a generic name,
Right.
which,
right.
sorry, I think is lame.
Oh, I think it's great actually. It's better
If you
than
can't buy
not
the
having...
.com, no.
Come on, man. You can't buy stuff with
I'm still old school. Come on.
Oh, you're
.com.
old school, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
I don't know, but
Nice .io rubbish.
yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited about it. So
Cool.
it's a cell-connected company. So basically, it's the way I kind of explain it to people
Come
is
on,
it's like
dude. It's Internet of Things. Come on.
I was gonna hold off on that. I figured that's his own topic. But yeah, the way I explain it to people, it's kind of like Google Fi in that it's a SIM card that allows you to connect to lots of different providers and towers and stuff like that. But then that SIM card can go into cell-connected devices, so of your own making. So if you've got like a device, a development board with a cellular, like one of those U-Blocks cellular 3G modems or whatever is coming out soon, and basically you can transfer data to the internet and then connect your project anywhere, anytime you have a cell signal, which is pretty common. So, yeah.
And what will you be doing there?
I will be doing hardware advocacy. So it's called developer advocate, but
Is that
basically
your
just
official title, hardware advocate?
it's like developer advocate. Yeah, that's like a common thing in software.
So,
we don't
have
that
they
as much
done
in
away
hardware.
with evangelists now, have they? They've done away
I mean,
with
I
that.
think that's the same kind of thing. I don't
Right.
really go by titles anyways.
Right.
If Chief Weirdo would be the but no, I mean I'm talking to hardware people and helping them build projects with cellular stuff. So like a good example would be like a
So
Kiva. We talked about that stuff.
You're almost like an apps. You're almost like
Yeah.
a field applications kind of guy.
Right, with no guarantee of technical success. That's the real thing.
Right.
But no, yeah, you're right. It's like trying to get people to
Right.
use the
Yeah,
platform, and
right.
if they're having
Yep.
issues, getting them up and running and connecting them to whomever they need. So yeah, that's
So
probably
is
the
it
closest.
is it like if anyone dares fill out like their email address on your website or something, you just show up knocking on their door going, "Hey, let me show you how cool it is."
Have you ever had that where I think I mentioned that on
No,
the show a long
well,
time ago where I was looking at a data sheet. I was looking at a data
Right.
sheet on a site and I was logged in and
Yep,
then
yep.
the sales guy called me. It was like, oh my God.
Right. I've never had an actual call. I've had many pop-ups and things like that, but
Yeah, pop-up,
know.
sure, but that's a web thing. Like it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was a crossover from web to phone that really freaked me out. So
wow, yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of yeah.
it's fine. But no, I don't think I'll be doing that. It's more like, talking to people at conferences. Like I'm probably going to Open Hardware Summit, talking to people there who are working
So
on
you'll still be going
cellular
to
stuff.
conferences and stuff. So you're still doing a similar sort of thing there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I'm excited about that, and it's talking to hardware people, but also meeting a lot more software people too. And that's really what I was most excited about is like meeting software people who are interested in hardware. I
Yep.
get some of that. Some of the people listening to this show are like that, and I'm
Of
pumped
course.
about that.
Yep.
But also, people that are probably don't listen to the show or might not even know much about hardware yet, but are still interested, and just kind of meeting that group of people. I'm really excited about that. So there's a lot of opportunities for education and getting connected, stuff like that. So
Got it.
yeah, I'm really pumped.
So a hologram a startup?
Yeah, they're a startup. It's I don't know how many people it is yet, but it's pretty small. They've raised some money and stuff. So
Groovy.
yeah,
Well, I hope it works out. How long have you been at Supply Frame now?
it's been 3.5 years actually. Yeah,
Wow.
it was right after my course launched. I joined I was talking to Supply Frame, then I
Right.
joined later, and then yeah. So it's been a while.
Wow, that's
It's been-
scary.
It's been great. No, it's been great though. It's been really great. I mean, I've met so many good people from it. I get to do the meetups. That's been really good, and it's been really a positive experience.
So what is the average time you stayed at a company now?
Yeah, it probably is about 3 years because I was at like Keithley for like 5 years, and then ABB for 2 years, and Samsung for 2 years, Supply
Right.
Frame for 3 years. So yeah, probably about 3 years. I'm a millennial, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's good. Now, I think the big thing, like you pointed out, though, is Internet of Things. Let's get
Come
that all
on,
out
of
there.
course it is.
Yeah.
So I can just rib you every
Internet
week.
of
Mercilessly.
Things. Internet of Things. Yeah, you can. But
Excellent.
the thing is, like, so the thing that I've talked to some people about at Hologram is like that term is kind of loaded down with a lot of BS. A lot of people are like, oh, well, this is like an Internet of Things thing.
No,
It's like,
the Internet of Things is bullshit. Who would have known?
I know, right? It's not like there's a whole Twitter account for it, right?
No, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. But no, it's kind of just okay. So like, hardware people are out there. They know they want their projects connected. I was looking through my project list of like, build someday, and like
Right.
half of them,
Yeah,
of course,
would-
talking
of
to the
course.
internet. Like,
Yeah,
and
right.
so, okay, so the baseline assumption is you want to connect something at some point. Great, right? You did that recently, right? You did that for your YouTube counter, right?
Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so like it's about like getting stuff online easily, and then making sure it's connected. And I think that the cellular play is interesting because it's you don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. You don't have to get it configured. You just plug it in.
Yeah.
It pretty much just starts spouting data to the network, and then it's just about collecting that data and pushing it wherever you want it to go online. So that's
Got
why
it.
I'm really excited about it. And like I said, when I talked to Akiba a couple weeks ago, his was a great example of like he. So we were talking about that Rice project, if you remember it.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like 3G backhaul and then like 802.15.4 radios. So yeah, it's just like stuff that's like out in the field, and it's ag tech, and it's crud, I forget his name. Was it not Gerald? The guy, the Civionics person. I forget his name. I feel really bad about that. Maybe it was Gerald, but Civionics. Anyways, he was doing that in car plants, right? Remember he was talking about
Oh,
monitoring
yes,
huge,
that's right. Yeah. Yep.
the stamping things.
Uh-huh.
And he talked about doing that with 3G, right? That's the same kind
Right,
of thing
of
where it's
course.
like he didn't know
I remember that.
how the connection would work, but it was just a good starting point. Maybe Wi-Fi is a good option too, but
Yep.
I think for prototyping and stuff, it's a great option. So
I'm curious to see the power differences between a cellular, a continuous cellular. By continuous, I mean maybe updating once a second or something like that. Cellular connection and a Wi-Fi connection.
yeah, that is a good question. I'll have to do some stuff with that because
Yep. Well, that's
I've never really
sort
done
of
it.
stuff because that's if you turn up at my door knocking on, hey, hello, you filled it out an email thing on our website, and the first thing I'm going to ask is how much current does it take?
Right,
like
right.
it's grumpy engineer is like,
No,
how much
I think
current does it take?
that's a great question too, and I think
Compared to
that
Wi-Fi.
maybe I'm sure that there's lots of different options that are out there too. Like there's other
Yep.
there's other new low power wide area network type connection options and I'm
So
sure
what I
that they
wanna
all have their
see-
places. Yeah.
What I want to see after your first week on the job is a
Okay.
graph on
An
your
assignment,
website.
huh? An assignment.
An assignment. I've
Yeah.
given you your first task. You've been tasked.
Okay.
A graph of a parametric graph of data update rate versus power consumption for both Wi-Fi and 3G, your little whiz-bang hologram 3G cellular module.
Okay. Well,
That's what
so
I want.
Hologram
I
doesn't
wanna see
actually
that.
make the modules either, though. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's a
No, got
uBlocks thing, right? So uBlocks makes those modules. They're like 2G and 3G. They have types.
So it's hologram like a back end.
Yeah. So a lot of this is using the SIM card and then pushing the data to the back end, and then what do you do with the data then, right? So not necessarily having to go through even hologram servers, but like, and again, I'm still learning a lot of this stuff, so some of this might change, but like but yeah, so basically what do you do with the data then? Where does it go? Where do like, how do you get it connected to like your server, or having like a AWS instance or anything like that? So
Right.
yeah.
Groovy.
Yeah.
Anything that helps with AWS, I'm big for.
Yeah.
Because I like AWS and I use a couple of AWS services.
Oh, yeah?
Right?
What for?
But for backup,
Sendy.
Sendy and other
Yeah.
stuff, right? But it's got to be for a dumbass like me.
Right. Like
Right?
Sendy's a great example where that's a mail program that Dave and I both use. It's like this
Yep.
really. It's not like super fancy UI, but it's nice enough.
No,
and it's
but it's
way
good.
simpler to use
Yep.
the Amazon SES, where we pay $1 for every 10,000 emails instead of
Yeah, exactly.
$30 a month for Mailchimp.
With MailChimp or whatever it
Yeah,
is. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly. It's much cheaper, and I love it. But it was actually a lot of effort getting
Yes.
it installed. There are a lot of steps which I never would have figured out on my own.
Right.
Ever.
Oh, yeah,
In
exactly.
a million years.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
And there were so many different weird things to set up. Acronyms I've never heard of, and
like
things I've
DKIMs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I never.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they had a step-by-step list, and I went through it, and it worked. Well,
Right.
no, it didn't. I think I had to.
Yeah, it's a little easier now, actually.
At first,
I really do
anyway.
like it.
Yep.
But yeah, and if you listen to Rick, who was on the show last week, Rick was really interesting because he was talking about, we were talking about server stuff and like large scale implementations, but it was kind of like that really like that top to bottom, like internet traffic talking all the way down to silicon, right? And now this is kind of taken on the other, obviously much lower scale, much lower power, everything, but it's that same thing of like going from blinking an LED on a board, or more likely a sensor, some kind of sensor input to a chip. How do you get that all the way up to your server? Because that's really what
Right.
they care about. Most people care about.
Yep.
And there's going to be a lot of custom pieces in there. You could buy an off-the-shelf solution all the way through, right? So like Brandon from I don't think he's there anymore, at Electric Imp, right? Electric Imp was kind of like, all right, we'll build this entire piece in the middle for you, right? And it
Yep.
was just scripting on one end and hardware on the other. And that's cool.
It was
But-
almost a turnkey solution, almost.
Yeah, exactly. And then you could like kind of piece and buy different things there, and it's interesting. Like that was a great solution too. But the thing was then taking that into production. That's when you really start to. It's like, oh well, how do we get this chip? How do we get that chip? How do we implement this on our servers versus your servers? Like we've talked about that on the show. You and I have. It's like if you don't control the whole data flow, do you really own?
Right.
Like you don't own the process,
Yeah.
right? We said that about embed. We said that about server hardware and stuff like that, or not. Server programs, stuff like that. And so it's just that
it could be PCB design software, anything.
Sure,
It's
yeah,
like
exactly,
Web,
right.
anything web-based,
right,
it's like-
exactly. And so it's like it's that balance point of like convenience versus ownership versus whatever. And I think that this new stuff that I'll be working on is, you could say that some pieces are obviously proprietary chips or proprietary cell networks that you don't own, but some of that's unavoidable anyways. So it's like, how much of the process do you want to control? And I think there's going to be some interesting questions in there, especially moving towards production.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I'll be figuring out. and
Okay, Mr.
talking about.
Evangelist, keep
Yeah.
us updated.
Right, exactly. I will.
Awesome.
On your list, you just talked about server-based PCB stuff. Maybe we should talk about that.
Maybe we should. Well, this brings us to our news segment of the show. Yep, comes over the teletype still.
Yes.
Yes, well, let's start with Altium have bought Upverter.
Yeah.
Discuss.
Congrats to the Upverter team. We had the Upverter team
We did.
on the
You
show
can listen
what?
to that. We'll link it in.
4 years ago.
Something like that. Scary. Yeah.
It doesn't. It feels like longer, honestly. Mostly because like if you look at the picture, so I still know Zach, and I see him once in a while, and like Zach looks so young in that picture that we use there.
Right.
Like that's really what I think about. But
right.
yeah. So that was a great show, and it was interesting hearing how they kind of talk through all that stuff. Obviously, in the meantime, we've always said that like it's tough if you don't own the server, so you don't own the software there, right? So
right. Yeah.
I think this is going to be a good move because, in the best case scenario, this service is around for a long time. Whoever's designs are there are...
and it's now free. You used
right.
to pay for a pro version of Upverter. It is now free. Since Altium bought it, bam, it's instantly free.
Yep.
I think Circuit Maker's going to get the boot. I can't see...
Yeah, probably. I don't know if anyone's even using that, right? I think probably more people are using Upverter than
I think the uptake on Circuit Maker, they just did it wrong. It was nice. Circuit Maker was very nice. It's just like the tiny little things.
Well, maybe that's it's a good balance point too, right? So like both of those, you had to be connected to the server, like your designs lived on their server. So in that case, is it better to have everything online, or is it? I think just in terms of execution, the Upverter stuff was better.
Right.
Because there's also tools in the Upverter flow that were beneficial.
Sure.
So not enough to overcome that activation energy for me to switch away from KiCad or for you to switch away from Designer, but still interesting. Maybe starting from scratch, it was interesting enough.
Now, one thing I like about Upverter, I just saw this the other day. I didn't know this existed, but I really like the concept of it, and it's got me thinking. They have a service called PCB Concierge.
EE Concierge.
EE Concierge, right?
Yeah, I don't remember if we announced that on here when it happened. I mean I talked to Zach about it, but
anyway, what it is it's basically the it's like Fiverr.com. What are the other services?
Oh like Upwork and
all the other. You can just go pay someone to do
your virtual assistant type stuff and
right. But it's built into the PCB engine. Not only that, but you can apparently, I haven't tried it, watch them do the layout live.
Oh,
because
I didn't know
it's all
that,
web-based, So you can watch them because it's all live on the web. So they're doing their web-based layout using Upverter. I think so.
I don't think so, but either way,
if they don't, it's a brilliant concept, and my check's in the mail.
If they don't,
sorry, my invoice is in the mail. If they don't have that, then my invoice is in the mail.
You want some?
I want some coin. Yeah.
Right, I see. Bitcoin, please.
Dogecoin. I accept Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bitcash.
Bitcash, anything.
Yeah.
You name it. Library IO credits I'm into.
Weird.
Which you haven't heard of,
No.
No, exactly.
Okay. Well, either way. However, I don't. So, what's the benefit to actually seeing it done live? I don't get it.
Is that you can see that A, when they're working on it, B, what they're actually doing. Are they working fast at it? Even though you might not know anything about PCB layout, that's why you're hiring someone to do the layout for you, right? You can at least see that they're working on it right now. You can see.
I think we're talking about different things. EE Concierge
Traces.
right now is doing just footprints and schematics and stuff.
Oh.
I think that they were talking about maybe doing the other stuff. I don't think they actually were, though.
Okay, well, I visited the website, and that's the gist I got, so I don't know where I got that information from.
Okay.
Maybe it was in the press release or something?
At first it started with just part requests, right? So basically the idea was you want to make sure that you have a verified part. So if say you used to be downloading from a library or you have a part library. Basically, this is like having a part librarian, right? So you've had part librarians in the past, or you've been a part librarian. I don't know. But basically, a part librarian would be. I used to have one. She was great. She basically would verify the footprint was absolutely right in terms of matching the dimensions on the data sheet, following the what's the spec? Not IEC. The 60. What's the footprint
IPC
spec?
standard.
IPC. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was saying IEC. Yeah. IPC standard. Yeah. So like following that, and then getting the 3D model, making sure all the pins are correct on the symbol, stuff like that. That's what a good librarian does, and then actually maintains that library. Usually, so like for Altium, it would be in the vault, right? And this Eagles can have separate libraries. You can have KiCad can have folders, stuff like that. So This is basically taking that concept and then hiring it out, so you don't actually have someone internally. You say, I'm willing to pay, $50, $100 for a part, which people might balk at, but like we think about it, if it takes 2 hours to build a footprint, which is possible sometimes, it's worth it. So
Right.
yeah.
Anyway, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I think that so I had sent some questions back about eConcierge as well, and basically because they were also working on converters and stuff like that, and so they said eventually they're hoping to be able to do like other formats, not just Altium formats, but maybe Cadence, Mentor, Eagle, stuff like that. No KiCad.
Right.
You didn't mention KiCad, so yeah, well, yeah, and then I was also asking about migration paths. Obviously, that's a concern given the Circuit Maker, Circuit Studio, Altium Designer thing, and so they're talking about being able to go back and forth. So yeah, that sounds good.
Groovy.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's one of our acquisitions today.
Oh yeah. Well, congrats to the team. I mean, that's great. I'm glad that they.
Excellent. Well, that was probably the only. I mean, you could see that coming years in advance, right? Who are they going to sell to? Either they're going to make it on their own, or or who are they going to get bought by? Well, there's only a couple of names. So.
Well, it could have been. I mean, like the distributors keep buying everyone, so.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I guess every distributor's got their own PCB package now, haven't they?
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
DigiKey have one. Mouser have one.
Speaking of, we have a bit of news on that too. Another former guest actually.
Do we?
Yeah. Dragon Innovation was bought by Avnet, so. We had Scott Miller.
I didn't know that. Right.
Yeah. So.
Bought by who?
Bought by Avnet, so the distributor.
Oh,
Avnet.
Yeah. Oh, the distributor Avnet.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, so Avnet's been on a tear. So they own Hackster, they own Dragon now, they bought Element 14.
That's right. Jeez.
They own.
That wasn't small, was it?
What was the other one? They own something else. I think they own like a media arm now too. I forget who it was. Arrow had bought Aspen Labs, which was like the.
Yeah, but.
Oh no!
Where do we see them? Where do we like Avnet is so not anywhere on my radar.
That's because you're not manufacturing though. That's the thing. Like you're not making big stuff. Like if you were, believe me,
if I was back in the day, right?
Exactly.
If I was, right.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your distributor experience like back in the day? Did you have? I mean, because you were doing like Aussie distributors too, I'm sure, and it was military stuff. So.
Oh yeah, but we were doing we would had
Is your cell phone ringing?
Yeah, sorry.
That's a great ringtone, man. That's the Back to the Future noise, right?
That's the Back to the Future thing.
That's great.
I should have just let it go.
I like it. Yeah.
Yes, we were we had like a purchasing department who handled all that.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Fairly much, Yeah, we would have some involvement ourselves.
Yeah, I just think about like FAEs dropping by, stuff like that, dropping off the data books in your day, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
And the useless bottles of wine at Christmas time.
Well, some people use them, Dave.
Right.
Yeah. So, congrats to Scott and the whole team. I think they had like 12 or 15 people, I think, at this point.
Right. Wow.
So yeah. So that's great.
Cool.
And I think that the Avnet was talking about that they're still going to operate independently. So people that are already using them going to keep basically there will be like a consulting house inside of Avnet, helping people take designs overseas. I'm guessing if they aren't overseas or even if they are overseas, what do you know? Avnet will be right there.
All right. And we're not done yet, folks.
No, not done yet.
No. Ixus.
I was wondering how you were going to say that.
How would you say it?
I said Ixus.
Yeah, Ixus.
Yeah, it's probably Ixus. You're right.
Ixus, mate.
Yeah.
IXYS.
Yeah.
Ixus. Yep. Anyway, they make power tradies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they make a bunch of other stuff, but that's what I kind of know.
That's exactly what I know them for.
Yep. Right.
Big trench FETs and stuff.
Yeah. Big power, big, grunty MOSFETs.
Yep.
Anyway, they've been bought by Littelfuse.
Yeah. Big stuff being bought by Littelfuses.
Big power MOSFET company bought by Littelfuse.
Right. Littelfuse. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well,
which is based out of Chicago.
Oh, are they? I didn't know that.
I sent it to a friend and I said, Chicago got a chip company.
Didn't know. There you go.
Yeah. Ixus is out of San Jose or something like that. So, and I think I think they do mostly fabless these days.
I'm sure they don't have their own.
Yeah.
Fab. Well, no, because like power transistors and stuff, you could run those on old fabs and
you
still
can,
make
but it's, I don't know.
Anyway.
But yeah, that's a bit of dough actually. It's more than I would have guessed. I don't really know.
$750 million is a lot of money in power trannies apparently.
Yeah.
So who knew?
I think a lot of these companies like with TI, right? So like TI has like a the power division, then they have the logic division, or the analog division, the logic division, and stuff like that. But like, I think the analog stuff just kind of keeps growing. It's just like it's really small silicon, not always with the trench FET stuff, but like right. You have repeatable business. Everybody needs transistors. Everybody needs switch converters, stuff like that. It's just it's like consistent business. It's not as much like we got designed into an Alexa or an Amazon Echo or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just not those huge swings. Or this part got into a iPhone and whatever. So.
Oh, I'm on their website, Ixus's website. Did you know?
I didn't.
You probably didn't. You probably don't even know what these are, being a young whippersnapper. But the Z8. Ixus are the ones who ended up with the Zilog Z8 family of micros. So they do the microcontroller. It looks like they still make the Z8 Encores.
I did know that because that popped up a lot on like Parts.io and stuff. So I remember I used to see that a bunch. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is anyone still using the Z8 Encore? Because they made a big splash when they first came out. They were pretty jazzy little parts, and everyone was thinking they were the duck's guts.
Why? Because
this was, back in the 90s.
Not because they're vintage or because they're...
No, it's just because they had some nice little novel,
like peripherals?
Peripheral stuff and whatnot, They were just, They were jazzy little parts. Anyway, like now they're like, yawn-worthy, right? But that's just the march of progress there. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that this stuff... Wait, that's Zilog, right? They bought Zilog, right? That's the Z8, or no?
Yes, Zilog, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Z8, bloody Americans. Z8.
No.
Z80.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your delicate sensibilities, you can't take it if I say Z.
No, I can't take it, no.
Okay.
It's wrong.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, they do a whole bunch of stuff. They do LED drivers, they do optocouplers, telecoms ICs, gate drivers, of course, opto isolators, power management stuff,
Yeah, I mean, the power stuff, too, with, like, the IGBT stuff, like, you saw just those in, especially with, like, electric cars rising in popularity, I'm sure
they're probably, they probably own half that market.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah. 3600 volt. Hang on, I'm being bombarded with ads here. 3600 volt reverse conducting IGBTs. Whoa. Yeah, well suited for... Oh, no, the ad's gone. Oh, bloody hell. Anyway, Anyway, yes, they do have pictures of electric cars in the ads, so obviously they're... Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff's great for making stuff move, right?
Yep.
So.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Well, congrats to Little Fuse. I'm sure I don't think much will actually come to Chicago, unfortunately. I'm sure it'll be a holding company type thing, but Little Fuse makes fuses, if you don't know.
Yeah, they make fuses. Do they do anything more than that? I haven't visited their website in a year or something.
Yeah. Thyristors, like protection devices in general, I think.
Yeah.
Sensors,
Mobs.
looks like. Yeah.
Yep. Right.
I don't know. Like these days, like when I think about like shopping for parts too, like okay, yeah, if I go to buy a fuse, there's Little Fuse is a big one, right? But like,
right.
Do I really care? I'm almost always I have very little brand loyalty. I think I've always said that.
No, I didn't. I was looking. I resell fuses. Thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah, that's right, for the DMMs, right?
I resell, because they're notoriously expensive, these DMMs. Yeah. And I thought, I wanted spares to be able to sell some spares for my meters that I sell. And, so I was going to all the biggies, I was going to the Bussmans, and I was going to the Little Fuses, and I was going to all of them, trying to get, like real wholesale quotes, like, give me a price on 1,000 fuses. And
that's wholesale?
Well,
Dave.
these things are normally $10, $20 each.
Really,
Right.
that much?
Retail,
Jeez.
yeah.
Whoa.
Go and buy Heaven Amp genuine Busman fuse from eBay.
Right,
It'll
right,
cost you
right.
20
And
bucks a
that
pop.
that what's that format called too? The large scale. It's bigger than the 4x20 or the 5x20s, right?
Yeah, it's bigger than the 5x20s. It's the 30 millimeter cartridge fuses.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
like the metal.
yep.
The brass ends or something.
The ones with the metal cap ends
Yeah.
and this ceramic sand filled.
Oh, it's sand filled.
former.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Yep.
Anyway, so you couldn't
anyway,
get the quotes
they're
or what?
normally very expensive, and so I finally found a Japanese company who I'd never really heard of. That were getting, like that manufactured the equivalent ones, and the same specs, same ratings, made in Japan and everything, and they were quite, I
All the
was
best
shocked.
stuff's
They were
made in
like
Japan, Doc.
It is.
Yeah.
And they were like 1/5 the price. So I went, beauty. I'm
Oh, nice.
going with those ones. I'm not brand loyal to Busman.
No.
Screw you.
Did you do testing on them? Like, how do you get verified for that kind of thing? I mean,
I trust them that they're this company just makes fuses pretty much. Like they
Oh, okay.
know what they're doing. They're all independently certified, independently tested by UL and the whole
Got
works.
it.
So
Got it.
Yep.
oh,
Yep.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So they were. Yeah. So I'm sitting on like thousands of fuses here. Trying to offload.
They make regular chairs, Dave. I don't know if you know.
Oh,
there's-
right. Okay.
It's like
Yeah, I'm
office
sitting on
chairs you can buy.
A
Yeah.
throne of HRC
Yeah.
fuses.
Right.
Anyway, so so I sell like a pack of like 8 of those or something for $20 odd.
Oh,
whereas normally
that's
they
a great
cost-
deal actually because
Yep.
I just made a video about people getting started and I was just like, just buy them so you have them around because nothing's worse than when you're like, you need your DMM, you happen
Yeah,
to blow a
and you're
fuse,
blowing
and
the
then you're
outside
like,
of the fuse,
oh,
yeah.
well, I guess I'll get the penny out and short this
Yeah.
thing. No bad
Right.
idea.
Yeah, no.
So
Make
yeah.
sure you have a couple of spares.
Yep. Yep.
So groovy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they just so happen to be compatible with my new 121 GW meter coming out too.
Oh
so
yeah, when's
that's
that
good.
coming out? Speaking of that, Doc.
October 20th.
Oh yeah, you gonna have a big
But
launch
not,
party?
not for the public. Not for the public. There's only a very limited, very small number of units that will go
Yeah.
to supporters first.
Nice.
They'll be able to buy it first at a discount. So
Nice.
yep.
Do you have to, how does one get on that list?
You
The mailing list, or is that the
support
form?
me on Patreon or get on my mailing list, on my website mailing list. Yes.
Okay.
Sendy, as we'll
There
talk
you go.
about
Yeah,
before.
bringing it all home, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yes, there will be units available. So and there will be not enough units for people who want them. So
Yeah. I mean, so
people
yeah,
are
you'll
gonna
do
miss
it in
out.
run. You're doing it like in runs, basically.
oh well, I'll do that. This is like a pre-production pilot.
Oh, it's
run
like that. So
thing.
it's almost like
Yep.
a Kickstarter without the Kickstarter.
It's a Kickstarter without, and then following that will be the Kickstarter, and then that's where I'll be taking the large.
Oh, you're gonna do the
quantity.
Kickstarter. Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
It'll be another Kickstarter.
Are you gonna do Kickstarter Gold? Are you gonna do that?
Oh, what's a Kickstarter Gold? I didn't know.
Oh, you
about
didn't listen to
Kickstarter
our
Gold.
show with when I had Zach on.
No, sorry.
I'll link that in if people didn't hear it.
Obviously, the only way to stay informed in the industry is to listen to the Amp Hour.
It sounds like
Clearly.
it, yeah, right. It's almost like you should do it once in a while.
You're right.
Dave's very busy, folks. He's building meters. Yeah, so Zach was talking about that when he was on. And his project actually was going back. It's actually just went through that. He did the one station radio. I forget what it's called. It was like a mason jar radio and just tuned. Oh, the public radio. It's called. And so that was because
It's just tuned to one station.
it's just tuned to one station, so you can change what
Right.
station it is on the EEPROM. But yeah, it's
right, okay.
the idea is just like a really simple device for
Right,
for.
yep. Yep.
I think we said for hipsters. I think it was pretty well verified it was for hipsters.
right. Got
But
it.
like the nicest hipsters
Yeah.
who like radio. Anyways, yeah. So that was the second time they did it, and it was part of Kickstarter Gold. So you should check that out. It was basically
right.
like
Are you going to give us the?
Oh, sorry. It's like
2 cent
successful
spiel of
projects that are what's it called? I keep thinking correlated. It's not correlated. It is.
Do you have to have a previous successful Kickstarter?
Yeah, you need to
Is
have a
that-
previous successful
Well,
Kickstarter.
I've got one of those. Yeah.
Curated. That's the word I was looking for.
Curated.
So you have to basically be chosen by them. It's like a chosen.
Oh, right.
You must be the chosen one, Dave. So But you know somebody, so maybe you can get his contact.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, obviously I'm going to get all those public sales that I really wanted, right?
Well, no,
All
he
those
was
general
talking about that
public
too. He
sales.
said there was actually there was more than you'd expect. Maybe not on your campaign, but on other campaigns.
Right. Okay.
So just make the meter a little bit more.
Right.
Put some
Consumer.
avocado toast on the back of it, Dave.
Right.
You'll get all the millennials.
Right.
Oh man,
Smash
Aussies are
that,
rough
mate.
on those millennials. I gotta say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Good old. Yep. Avocado toast. So we were talking about with the Ixis the power FETs, and I was thinking about that in terms of this. Did you happen to see this video? Or actually, there's a video, but then also it was a motherboard.vice article about DIY power walls.
No. Are people
Oh man,
building
these things
DIY?
are great. Yeah. So basically,
Probably
they go
not
to
a good
recycling
idea.
centers.
This
No, they're great ideas.
No. A do-it-yourself Powerball is not a good idea. No.
I mean, yes, there
Come
is a
on, you're an
potential for
engineer.
danger.
You understand the thermal and safety implications of something like that.
These are all
Surely.
fire-safe boxes. Okay, so yes, there have been a couple
Oh,
fires.
put it in a fire-safe box. If it blows up, no worries. Sure, right?
And put it in your garage, and make sure your garage isn't attached to your house. But anyways, so there was a video. So there's a video. I forget the guy's name. Where was it? Oh, it was Daniel. No. What is his name? Anyways, there's a LinkedIn video with a guy, and he's actually he goes over this. It's called it's Jehu Garcia.
Yeah.
But anyways, basically he was working on a DIY Powerwall, and he went and interviewed a guy who built one, and
Look,
it's huge and awesome.
yeah, for the record, I think this is cool, right? I like do-it-yourself Powerwalls, but is it a good idea to encourage your average Joe to do them? No, very bad idea.
That's a good question.
Right?
Yeah,
Here it is.
okay, yeah,
Look
you're
at,
right.
I
If
mean, they're just encouraging people to going out and get in exothermic lithium-ion cylindrical cells in the thousands and wiring them all in parallel in series. It's just like, no.
I don't know, man. I think
with copper bus bars. Come on. I mean, it's just no. You got to know what you're doing. That's just ridiculous.
I think there should be some kind of minimum of knowledge, but I don't know. I think it's awesome. Anyways, yeah, I forget who it was. I met someone in New Zealand who was doing this as well. I forget. I remember he was writing a book about bikes, and he showed this, and he actually showed that. So he had a built-in. So each he had built these 3D printed brackets. There's like a whole community. They have 3D printed brackets and stuff, and then it was like a grouping of these 18650s, and then each grouping had its own built-in meter, basically that you could monitor.
Right.
They must have been three in series, because it was like wait, no, it must have been just one in series. It must have just been they're all parallel, because I think it was around like 3.5 volts, so that would be parallel, right?
Yep. Oh well, no series. 300 to get 300 volts, you have to
I said
series.
3.5 volts.
Oh,
right.
okay,
So
right,
yeah,
okay.
yes, yeah, 3.5 volts would just be a bunch in parallel, because it would be like somewhere between 4.2 and 3 volts. So
that is correct.
yeah. So anyway, I don't know. It's interesting, and yes, I would hope people are safe. You can't protect people from themselves, and it's like what they're really and so like at the end of this video, which was a very good video, it goes all through everything, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the video, he kind of adds up the cost. It's about $15,000 for a 30 kilowatt Powerwall, right?
Jesus, you can almost buy a commercial one for that.
Well, you can.
Maybe not that
No, it's a
capacity,
20
but
I
that's
think it's
sort
like
of money.
Right. It's like it's like $15,000 or $20,000 for like a 7 to 10 kilowatt hour. So it's like you're getting 3 times your money, basically, if you build it yourself. However, I was thinking this as I was watching it.
the Tesla Powerwall, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a 10 kilowatt system and it's only 10K.
Oh, I thought it was more. Okay. These have
yeah,
changed. I think they've been upgrading them too, though. So.
Right. Okay. Well,
I don't know where to find
that's
this, sorry.
that's a lot of money to spend on a do-it-yourself recycled Powerwall.
Sure,
I'm just
but-
saying that's
Oh,
like.
so here we go. Usable capacity, 13.5 kilowatts. Cost, I don't know. Price for power, what? That can't be right. But anyways, I think no matter what you're doing, right, you're paying a Tesla or another company that does something similar, usually with, I think they're recycled batteries as well. but you're paying for the assurance that it's not going to blow up. They're tested, they're guaranteed, right? If it does blow up and burn down your garage, you can go and sue Tesla, right? So
it's not just that, but they do the battery management properly, right? To ensure that you get optimum life out of this thing. Yeah, it may work now, but this thing may be completely cactus in 3-4 years' time.
Sure,
right?
But I think the people that are
then
really building them right now.
Grand, so it's not. It'll be better value to buy the commercial one that's
I don't agree with
properly
that.
engineered to keep going.
I don't agree with that, but it looks like it's only 6,200 it says on here. So interesting.
David is screaming at me, cost of time
Sure,
as well.
right. And that's another
You know.
reason that most people probably
Yeah.
aren't doing it like that.
Right.
And tell that
And
David guy, man, what is he, like a backseat driver here? What is this?
He's a backseat driver on
He's
the
getting
Amphoe,
exactly half the conversation. Tell him he should just call into the server now.
Right, and he should actually
Yeah, right. He should just be
listen.
sitting there on
He
mute,
should
and then
actually listen. He could
could
listen
do
to
the
the
little
live.
yeah.
Yep.
He's like, no, guys, come on, you got
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Anyway, there's a hilarious photo of the guy. I presume it's the guy's boot of his car.
Yeah.
Sorry, trunk for you Yanks.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh my goodness.
Full of full of these lithium-ion battery packs just like tossed in there. I would sorry, but half of me just a small part of me just wants them to catch on fire because that'd be funny. Sorry.
That's nice.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally not nice, am I? It's just
Well, either way, yeah. This article calls it out that it is dangerous. So yeah, I mean, like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a risk. But I mean,
So,
Dave, we
come
also
on.
talk to people that are
Yeah, but,
regularly, doing
there's
high
a couple
voltage
of
stuff.
people doing this. Like, you
Yeah.
made it out when you brought this topic up. You made it out that
No.
people are all starting to do their own do-it-yourself power walls.
I did not
Bullshit.
say that. Let's roll the tape
Well,
back, please.
that's you.
Yeah.
You
I
were
was actually
implying that.
surprised, though. I was surprised that the battery stack. So I think, you've pinpointed the danger is probably if there's any instability in the cells or if they, one of them fails and blows up, whatever, right? That would be from charging it improperly. But I was surprised that the stack up voltages, they only did like 60 volt stack ups, at least in that one
Yep.
video that I watched. I would have
Right.
expected it was like an electric vehicle where it's like you're trying to get 400 volt stacks,
You want to know the reason why?
Well, you can afford the weight of the higher copper, but is it because of the switcher?
Yeah. No, it's simply because your power requirements aren't nearly the same as an electric car when it accelerates, right? Your home, like the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to switch your dryer on, for example, so it switches on the element and it's like, and it doesn't need to start up real quick. It doesn't need huge pulse power. Like, nothing needs that in your house.
Right.
So, it's not really a big deal.
I mean, like a compressor on a fridge, that's usually a pretty big power dump. But
Yeah, but but we're still only talking a couple of thousand watts, right? At most,
you're right. Yeah,
We're
because
not-
you can't pop a 10 amp breaker or something, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's right. So so really, it's it's small peak currents compared to cars. So that's why they don't have to design the transmission system for minimum losses around the maximum peak current. So there's a big difference.
Oh, because you're saying so like a higher voltage, lower current for a
yes,
similar
higher
power
voltage,
delivery.
I squared R. I
Right,
squared R
right,
every
right.
time.
But you're
right?
saying
I
that
squared
for
R
a
losses.
for a high torque solution, I'm a little
They
confused.
need
sorry.
a higher voltage pack so that they can deliver the energy further within the wiring of the car to the point of load
Got it.
with minimum I squared R losses. So it's
Oh, okay. So
simple
it's
as that.
point to point. You're saying less
Yep.
losses inside the wiring and then the
Yes.
motors and stuff like that.
That's why your transmission lines that go between suburbs and cities are 500 kilovolts.
Right. Right.
500,000 volts because the copper is the loss in the copper. Well, then it's not copper,
Yep.
but the loss in the cables is less.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the cable's way less, so they
Yeah,
don't
right,
sag
so
if you're
sagging,
talking
yeah,
transmission lines and all that sort of jazz. But anyway, yeah,
Just gotta watch
And-
out for
and-
the zappy zappy. Don't forget that.
right. And you don't need that for the home.
Yeah.
And remember, you're also still connected to the mains, right? So the
Well,
mains
this
can
one was
handle the
showing
peak.
that they actually didn't need to be.
Right.
That was pretty impressive. It
No,
was like,
they didn't need to be, but in theory, you could take all
No,
the peaks.
well, they were also talking about. Well, this is another one. They're like, well, you even don't have to get inspected now because you're not connected into the mains. So they were
Right.
talking about making it portable, right? So they
Right.
had
Right.
portable cells on the roof, and then this installation they had, so they didn't need to get it inspected by the city because they weren't.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I'm debating whether or not this would even be legal in my country, to actually do a do-it-yourself pack that is ultimately connected to the grid, even though it is connected through an approved inverter.
Right. Something that actually does the brokering
like,
of where the power is flowing. And stuff like that.
It's probably legal if you could find somebody to sign off on it.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the problem. Finding someone willing to sign
palms,
off on your
do it
yourself.
Grease them palms.
Yeah. No one's going to do it, right? No one's going to sign off and you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can design and build your own car, right? And then try and get it registered to go on the road, but try to find somebody who will register your complete car built from scratch. Good luck, it's possible, but it's not going to be easy. So anyway, I'm doubting the viability of this.
Well, I think over time it's just you're going to get more. I think this is really, it started as like a play for, for the equivalent cost of a Powerwall, it's worth it to spend the time. I'm guessing over time as this gets more popular, sure. I mean, like I said, I looked at the price on the Powerwall thing, $6,200 for a 13 kilowatt solution. So it's already...
There you go, $6,200 for 13 kilowatts, right?
Right, so 3 times that and you're already kind of at the same thing. So, yeah. So maybe it was just that moment in time, and maybe there's just interest in it. But I'm guessing, over time. I think the crazy thing is just as solar keeps getting cheaper, which obviously it is, and as more and more batteries roll out, right? So obviously, I think a lot of this stuff I think a lot of the Powerwall stuff is actually recycled and certified. But obviously,
I don't believe they're recycled. I believe they're brand new, straight from the factory.
You think? Yeah. All
I
right.
think
Well,
they
also
are.
have that
I've
option.
never heard of them being second.
Yeah.
Used cells. I've never heard of that.
Oh, I think they were.
I don't think they are. I think you're clutching there. Anyway, Australia's going to get the biggest Tesla battery pack in the world soon. I'm contemplating actually going there to see it.
What is it? Oh, this is the Southern Australia thing, right?
The South Australia are the government. We had a big power failure here. South Australian government just went and
we talked about that when it went out. I think didn't they? They were like out without power for a couple of days.
Yep. And of course this thing may not actually solve the problem, but hey, it's cool, right? And and they ponied up the money, and sure enough, they've signed the contract and it's been installed. And I might actually go there to check it out.
That's great.
Is that the end of the buyouts?
I think
Probably
so.
more
Oh,
have
yeah, that
happened
definitely was.
No one cared about.
Yep.
What else we got?
Let's see. So there was some interesting... go ahead.
I did like this, which was the $26 million lost. Why crowdfunded hardware projects failed.
Oh, yeah, over in Plethora. Okay.
I don't know Plethora. What's Plethora?
That's Nick Pinkston, who started the San Francisco Hardware Startups Meetup. That's basically it's like an automated machining platform. So basically, you have like a plugin for your CAD system, and then it does CAM, so that you can use like a standard block of metal, and then you can get like low cost parts made because nobody ever touches them. So all the hard part of machining is work holding and figuring out how to get stuff into the vices and stuff like that. So
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, Katie Hobben has written what looks like to be an excellent article here, and I presume actually collated all the info. They looked at the 25 funded and failed hardware projects, and they've got a nice infographic here of or a nice bar chart of what the leading contributor to hardware crowdfunders failing is.
Yeah, go through them, man, because there's some good ones.
Right, and you might think, let's start out with number one. The biggest reason is design issues.
Yep.
Next is hardware issues. Next is electronics issues, which is hardware issues.
It's like kind of like 3 hardware issues in a row, but...
I'd almost put them all in the same category, really.
Yeah.
Then there's manufacturing issues, okay. Then there's software issues. Then there's communications problems with the manufacturer, which is kind of the same thing as the manufacturing issues.
Yep.
Then there's legal issues. And then there's design for manufacturing. Then there's team issues, like
people not getting along.
Yeah, people all thinking you're going in the wrong direction, doing something dumb, and And way down on the list is underpriced product.
Oh,
so
that's
not
more
many
common
of
than
those.
I think that's more common than people
I think
do
it might be, but anyway, in the data that they sampled, it's not. And then below that is the product was delivered, but just didn't work. I would also maybe add into that, not doesn't work, but doesn't work as claimed.
Yeah.
Kind of thing,
well, but that's still
gonna,
delivered, you know.
Like
these are like this is talking. Oh, I guess this is campaign failure. The hardware projects, right? So it's like projects versus companies, right? So that's kind of a big difference.
Right.
So.
And then there's underestimated demand, which is way down there. Personal problems, which is in your team issues. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, maybe if it's like the founder. By themselves or something.
Well, and then the last one is they attempted self-assembly. There were two projects that failed that attempted self-assembly.
I'm guessing they must have done it where they like all of the requiems that all these blog posts why we fail, why we're refunding money or whatever. So
right.
Yeah. Funded but failed hardware projects, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, the takeaway paragraph apparently is that design is hard. Duh.
Yeah.
Prototyping is hard. Duh.
Yeah.
Production is hard. Duh.
Yeah.
There are tons of ways you can mess up hardware project, even if you are reaching your crowdfunding goal.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of the stuff we've talked about in the past, though, too, right? It's like, it's underestimation, right? That's one of the big things. It's like, oh, well, we have our Arduino prototype, but it turns out we had to redesign everything because of A, B, and C, right? It's like, oh, okay, well, yeah. Or like, we didn't actually design anything. That's pretty common, too. It's like, this was all renderings. Oh, well.
Lily drones is a classic of that. I have a story about Lily drones.
Oh, yeah? What about?
That happened in the last week.
Lily drones.
They're very lucky to avoid corporate suicide.
Okay. I didn't think they had a corporate anymore.
Well, they didn't because they've declared bankruptcy, right? And the bankruptcy, it's all going through the court and everything. I'm following all that. Anyway, a company called Mota, who's a drone company, Mota, M-O-T-A, Mota with an A, are a drone company who bought the IP rights from them, including their trademark.
Yeah.
Guess what the first thing they did with their trademark was?
I don't know.
Try and take down my video with their trademark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I wake up on Saturday morning to an email from YouTube saying, you have received a trademark claim, not copyright. This has nothing to do with copyright. A trademark claim against the word Lily.
Really?
Right? They own the trademark to word Lily and
but
the
you're
brand.
a review. You're
right?
like a.
I know. I was doing a news story. I was covering a news story.
Let's not go crazy here, David.
What? I was on holiday, sitting on the beach, and this news broke. It was huge, and I had invested in it. I covered the news story.
A news story.
What? It was. Go watch the video.
David L. Jones, reporter at large.
Anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, yes, and that starts a process at YouTube, a 48-hour process, right, where that I have to talk to them and sort it out with them within 48 hours. Otherwise, it gets escalated to an automatic claim, and then I would dispute. Then I'd have to dispute it, and boom, my video would get taken down, and all the rest. So, of course, this is utter bullshit, right? You cannot. You cannot make a trademark claim against somebody saying the name.
Right.
And there's
you weren't claiming that you were like representing Lily.
No, I wasn't claiming
anything.
that I was representing. And there's actually a famous court case from a band back in the 90s, one of the boy bands.
Is this an Australian case?
No, this is the New Kids on the Block.
NKOTB?
New Kids on the Block. Anyway, I can't remember the name. Presumptive. Hang on a sec.
Oh man, NKOTB came to get him. Or it's the delivery guy, one of the two. It's the door. That's the door sound, you can tell.
Sorry, that was a courier.
Yeah, I could tell. What is David even doing there? What? Is his arms broken? He can't sign for something? Put him on. Get him on the show.
He's not here.
I'm gonna yell at him.
Here.
Come on, man.
Anyway, I will send you. I will have to link it in down below. Anyway, so here it is. I've got it. Anyway.
I'll start singing NKOTB again. I swear to God.
Normative. Word of the day. Normative fair use is
fair use,
normative fair use is basically the trademark equivalent to copyright fair use, except they're very different things. And it's based on the and it's based on a court case where the New Kids on the Block sued a news company for using their name. And their name was trademarked, and they mentioned them, and they sued them, and they lost, and it set a
well,
huge
that's good they
precedent.
lost, because that's ridiculous.
I know.
How would you even do that?
Absolutely ridiculous.
That's like when people talk about the Super Bowl, right? And they we can't even say the word Super Bowl. It's like, what the hell? How does this even work?
But it had apparently never really been tested before. Right, legally, it had never.
Probably because people usually
tested.
like the exposure versus whatever happened to the NKOTB,
Exactly.
right?
So anyway, the new company apparently didn't like my video and somebody else's, who they also at least tried the same thing against someone else. So anyway, I emailed them and said, "Hey, this is normative fair use.
Buzz
this
off.
is, and the 48-hour clock is ticking." And I emailed the CEO as well, and sure enough, magically the next day,
What do you know? Yeah, right.
we will review it internally, and
Right.
we have withdrawn.
That was a
thing.
spray and pray from their legal team. Yeah.
And I had a video uploaded ready to go.
Oh yeah.
You know, it was like, yeah.
Did you bleep out the word Lily when you mentioned it?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, no. Of course not. No.
Wait,
no,
weren't you just gonna get that one taken down then too?
No, I would have just kept uploading videos and get them all taken. I would have just kept doing it infinite. You know? Yeah. And anyway, it was never going to happen. There was no way they were ever going to survive my claim on YouTube for that. It's just.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then that was my last weekend. Was very exciting because of that. Yeah.
Nothing like a little legal stuff to shake up the weekend.
Anyway,
huh?
so that would have been corporate suicide on their part. If they went ahead
I'm sure they're doing this to other people though.
Yeah, but it made a big story at the time, and it would have made a big story again if this new company is abusing that trademark. You know, it would have. I'm sure it really would have caught on.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, to go back to this crowdfunded failure thing, I mean, I think it's stuff we talk about on here all the time, right? But it's basically the stuff that's on Kickstarter. And I talked to Zach a little bit about this when he was on the show, and we talked a little bit. Well, actually, this is a good point as well. So, Avnet and Bot Dragon, right? We'll tie it all together again. Avnet, Bot Dragon, and Avnet and Dragon also were teaming with Kickstarter to do that hardware studio thing. And part of what they're talking about is trying to find designs or help designs get more to the manufacturing point, right? So looking at your project, right? Something that's already been prototyped and is effectively halfway to being manufactured, even though they don't want to use that as their story of like, this is what we want as a Kickstarter, because it's so far along. That's effectively what they want especially for hardware.
Right.
You know, that is just an unfortunate truth, is that it's going to be the lowest risk one because it's already being manufactured.
Yes, that's right.
So like that. So like AVE just did a review on that ridiculous laser etcher thingy.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was just nuts.
I mean, and you know, he did a fair review simply because he was talking about the focal length and how it's not going to, even if it is manufacturable, that it's not going to be a good laser. And
no, it's going to be crap. But it's going to be a crap toy.
He didn't really talk about the manufacturability because there's just no information about it yet.
No, that's right.
You know, dollars to donuts, that it's probably not going to, make it. And if it does, good on him. But it's probably not going to make it. And so he stuck to that other part of it with his, it's not going to be high quality regardless. So, but just like a million of those things, that was like thousands of units. Not to mention it was a pretty dubious assumption in the first place. And even if they get it out there, it's probably still going to disappoint people. So it would hit a couple of these categories on this Kickstarter list, I think.
I'll tell you where a lot of Kickstarters come a gutser, right, is in these stretch goals, right? Because they design their product, right? You can prototype your product and everything. Everything's hunky-dory, right? This thing's going to be manufactured. No worries whatsoever. And then your Kickstarter goes gangbusters, right? And when it goes gangbusters after a couple of days, you feel compelled to add, stretch goals.
Right. Money.
So then, so all of a sudden you come up with these inventive new things that your product can do that you haven't tested yet. You haven't even prototyped. And you go, if we get to $1 million, our stretch goal will be, we'll add this functionality to the product. And then boom, you've just, you've added this uncosted, untested, unprototyped goal to your product that otherwise might be a very well-engineered product.
Yeah.
Right? And you've just promised this thing. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I've been writing, so I wrote about solo engineers a while back, and it was specifically, about just people that are working on their own, small teams, Kickstarter type folks that are trying to do it with just them, right? But it was actually, I was thinking about David Kronstein, right? So we've had him on Tesla 500.
Oh, yes, the camera. Yeah, Tesla 500.
I think that David's campaign, so I was really thinking about him when I wrote that article, the solo engineer thing, but I think about his Kickstarter campaign, that should be, the way that he did that should be the case study for every single Kickstarter campaign that's out there. Not only just from the manufacturing perspective, he had 3 or 4 revs of hardware. Obviously, he had all the technical expertise. He was doing he charged enough for the camera, but then the marketing piece, the fact that he got hardware out to people like you and Ben and everybody, all that stuff,
really well.
That was a really, really good. That is one of the best executed campaigns. It wasn't fast. He put a cap on, like you're talking about. He put a cap on how many how many cameras he was going to make. Even, he could have sold it. I think he sold out, didn't he? I don't remember exactly.
He sold out.
Yeah, but
he sold out of cameras, not sold out. To
not
someone
like
else.
like being a sellout. No,
right?
No. I think he limited his campaign.
Yes, that's what Andy Gilm,
Andy,
head
right,
of
from
the
LifeX,
from the LifeX bulb. That was the project. Actually, that was the project that on Kickstarter that actually changed the rules of Kickstarter, where you had to have a real product.
Interesting.
Kind of, I think that was the product, and they deliberately stopped it. They were going for $10 million bucks, or something. It was trending towards a $10 million target, and they just went, "Hey, we can't make this many bulbs," so they actually stopped it at $1 million or $2 million or something like that.
And they did deliver.
They actually stopped it.
Right?
They eventually. It took them longer than
it took longer
than they thought.
Right.
I think.
See, I think having when I see a campaign that says all right, we're legitimately only, and who else did that? I think the Wazer campaign did that too. There was one other, there was larger scale things where they said, we're only going to do so many. It's that means you've probably already, that's a pretty strong signal that you've already been talking to a manufacturer, right? Because you got an order in. It's not like you can just on a dime be like, you know what, guys, throw another 200 in there. It's who does that? That is a total disruption. Right. When the first thing was 300, right? It's let's make it an even 500. It's that is a huge disruption to your supply chain stuff, and because it's just that one thing that breaks, that one part that you can't get because you were going to order 300, now you went to 500, or with overages. So, yeah. Anyways, David Kronstein. We'll link in the episode we did with him. That was a great episode. That was actually, I looked the other day. That was our most popular episode to date. So
really,
yeah,
wow,
yep.
Okay, yeah, because that was we went through, I think, step by step of the design of the camera.
Yeah,
it was
so
great.
good. Yep.
Yeah, it was so good that I was going to do that for my channel. Right, I was going to sit down with him and do that for and I thought, we already did it so well.
You know what you should do? You should do it as if you're going to do it. You should do it as a how to run a Kickstarter campaign right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That could make an interesting video
because that would be good, and then you could also get more of the where's he been since the that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like that a lot. You know me.
Yep.
So
anyway, I love one of the graphs in there. We're still talking about this article on
the plethora thing.
The graph of the budget for the electronics and
Oh, yeah.
software development
Yeah.
versus the actual cost of
Yeah.
electronics and software development. It's hilarious.
Yep.
It's like 10 times.
Bites you every time,
I
huh?
shouldn't laugh, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think they were really comparing against mechanical. I think that's what the real thing was. Casing and design
Right.
products, prototyping. So,
Anyway,
Yeah.
we're only out by an order of magnitude. You know?
right. Yeah. So, yeah, good article from Plethora, for sure.
Yep.
So what else is on our list? We should probably start to...
More Internet of Things bullshit now that you work
Oh,
in the
yeah, who
bloody
does that?
thing.
What was it?
Sonos bullshit. One of these bloody listen to you all day
Oh,
gadgets,
yeah, that
is
was
it?
great.
Right.
So basically,
They're basically
you need to
new,
basically...
new firmware.
Yeah, it's new firmware, but you need to accept the terms and conditions or else they bricked your speaker, which is
Yep.
ridiculous.
So what is their new privacy policy? Is there something objectionable in there? Or is
No,
it just
was
the
just
fact
that if you said no, yeah.
if you said no, then they would brick your device?
Yeah. That's fun.
Wow.
Well, I mean, this is all the ownership question, right? Like, who owns your hardware when it's connected? And, like, that is, I think, a legitimate and ongoing question, you know?
And that's corporate suicide, right there.
I would
That's
agree so.
Internet of Things corporate suicide.
Yeah, I would think so.
Right? Yeah.
But you know what else is corporate suicide is replacing the firmware in your grandmother's... I love this title. If grandma has a pacemaker, please take her in for a firmware
For a
update.
firmware upgrade. Yeah.
Basically, there was a pacemaker that needs to get updated for safety reasons, I'm guessing. Yeah. But yeah.
Right.
Holy crap.
Oh, I've actually got a couple of those for teardowns.
Oh, really? Where do you keep the
yeah.
cadavers?
They extracted it out of the cadaver,
Got it.
so they are used.
It's up in the ceiling
units.
tiles.
Yep.
It's up in the ceiling tiles.
Yep.
Good thing it's winter.
So if I find any fleshy bits on it, they're
Yeah, right.
genuine.
Ugh.
You know.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I do not do well with gross stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wuss.
Speaking of tearing your heart out, I think this is probably my last one. Last punny title. The VW engineer got 40 months in prison.
Ah, yeah.
And of course, what people pointed out, what's the executive getting, right?
Well, I didn't read the article accurate. I tweeted this. I didn't read the article accurately enough. Apparently, he's just the first one to
Yeah,
be charged.
he is,
The
you're right.
executives are in the process of being charged.
Right.
Yeah. But if they don't get the same, then that's
There
just
will be
bullshit.
there will be some nerd rage for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Anyway, but this was drummed into me. Like we actually, when I used to work at Tallies or Sercel or whoever it was back in the day, I don't know, had 4 name changes. They actually had a lawyer come in and speak to us all,
yeah.
all of the engineering staff, and they laid it out flat. Look, you work for a huge corporation, but you are still legally responsible for the work you do. For every decision you make as an engineer, even if it's signed off by someone higher, you will still be legally responsible for that if it kills someone, right? And the only thing that's going to save you, like legally, is that you've done your due diligence, like your best effort. You use, your professional skills to do your best effort to ensure that doesn't happen. Now, if by accident it happens and everyone happened to miss it, well, okay, you're going to be probably covered.
So how does that work
But-
too? Like if you have a superior and they miss it too, is it like a whole chain all the way down?
If
Like
it's
like-
missed for genuine reasons and somebody dies, then that's probably okay, right? That shit happens. Basically, is the legal definition. I don't know. Is there a legal
Well, it's like
version
willful
of shit
ignorance
happens, right?
versus just ignorance, right? So like
Right,
you have
yes,
to prove that
yes,
somehow.
yeah.
Of
Ex-
like
exactly.
like you're looking the other
Yeah.
way because you want to get it out faster or you want to make more money or whatever, right?
But if you do something that you know is illegal or will hurt somebody, or even if there's a chance of it happening, and you're ordered to do it by your superior, that does not cover you. You are still legally liable. And they made that very clear to us.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, this is standard legal doctrine. And it wasn't just Australia specific. They said this is standard legal engineering, law pretty much anywhere in the world. Most countries anyway, that they're aware of. So, yeah, no, don't think that you just because you got somebody else to sign off on it, that you're covered. Nope. Comes down to to professional ethics, basically.
I'm playing back through my head. I'm like, shit. Can any of my devices kill people? It's like,
Yeah, right. Yep.
I really hope. I hope not.
So yeah. Anyway.
And what? And yeah. So what is it like? Is that mostly medical? I mean, like, is it? I guess that's all industries.
No.
though.
That's anything. That's yeah.
That's kind of scary.
That's anything.
Yeah.
If you use a chemical in your product that turns out to be carcinogenic, boom, responsible. You know, like if like
What
there's
about
a whole
like corporate protections
slew
and
of-
stuff though too? I guess there's criminal versus like civil type stuff, but like
Well,
the corporate protections would be like
yeah.
like if someone sued you for $100 billion and the company's worth $1 billion,
Oh
that
well,
they
that's
can't take
no,
99
but-
billion from the individuals.
Yeah. Well, that's a different thing. That
Yeah, that's civil.
extends to who. It depends who they want to sue and why.
Right.
Like,
versus
but, you know,
versus you're saying like
yeah.
this is like criminal because this is breaking the law.
Basically, well, if somebody dies, then it becomes more than just financial responsibility. It becomes like you're legally culpable.
I think
for
we should.
that death,
If
you know,
people,
et
if
cetera.
someone knows
So-
someone, like I don't disagree. I don't disbelieve
Hmm.
you, rather, Dave. But I would, if there's someone out there who knows like an expert on this, I'd love to hear from them, and like maybe have someone on the show because now I'm kind of frightened.
Right.
And
Anyway, that's what the lawyers told us. So
yeah,
you know.
that's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know why the company got them in. I guess, they were doing their due diligence to make sure that we were actually
Or maybe they're just
very
trying to scare you into doing better
aware
work.
of that. Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah.
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 It's or if something happened to actually trigger that.
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
have to imagine if it happens once, right? Then they would be like, well, we better CYA, C.
Yeah, but
OA.
like I remember when they went, right, engineers, everyone. Engineers
conference room.
and our managers,
Yeah.
in conference room. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's yep. 2-hour presentation later,
Yeah. Right. Of course.
Yeah, right. Anyway, big company stuff. That's it.
Yeah,
For today's
people
show.
can read other stuff on our subreddit. We've obviously, as me and Dave hadn't done a show today, so it was effectively three weeks in a row of guests, even though one of them was Akiba, who was a repeat. So you can go and follow our subreddit, reddit.com/r/theamphour. And there's also a feed, so if you go to the Amp Hour Twitter, you can also follow it there.
Sweet.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more IoT jokes in the future. I will be fighting a good fight for that. So
You can rely on me.
yeah, excellent.
Yep.
Cool, man. Well, I'm excited to hear more about your meter as that gets close to release too. So
Cool. All right.
we'll talk soon.
Catch you next time.